Welcome to level 4 of Unplug Nuclear Power. As you see behind me, we have solar panels on this house. In fact, this is about 6 kilowatts worth of power. And what this household is going to do on Unplug Nuclear Power, March 11th, it's going to be participating at level 4, which means it's going to put more power on the grid using its solar panels than it uses that day. So demonstrating that we don't need nuclear power, that solar power can provide more than all we need. And so what's going to happen at midnight on March 10th, people in this household are going to turn off all their unnecessary electronics and unnecessary electrical appliances and so forth. On March 11th, for the 24-hour period, these panels will produce more power than this household uses. And how do we know this? How do we know? Well, I'll show you. So, here we have an electrical meter that's providing what's called net metering. That means that it's constantly measuring both how much power this household is using, how much power is coming off the grid, and how much excess power the solar panels that you saw earlier are putting back onto the grid. And so you can see there's the number here, RE, that was how much renewable energy was created, and so far this household has produced 2,159 kilowatt hours of renewable energy onto the grid, versus DE, which is the amount of power the house has taken off the grid, 4,633 kilowatt hours that come off. So you can see that since it was created, this household has put about half as much solar power back onto the grid as its other electrical generation is taken off the grid. And of course that's not the full story, because what happens is the solar power first meets the household's needs, and then the excess goes onto the grid. So in reality, the system has created more than the 2,000 plus kilowatt hours, but that's how much the system is put back into the grid for the use of the local neighborhood, for the use of the neighbors, basically. So what we're going to do on March 10th at midnight, we'll take a reading off this and we'll be able to see how much energy is put on the grid and how much is taken off by measuring again at midnight March 11th. And then you subtract those two numbers, and that tells you how many kilowatt hours were used versus how many kilowatt hours were put onto the grid. And this is level 4 participation. At level 4, the amount put back on should be higher than the amount you take off. Now remember, this is the highest level, so don't be intimidated if you don't have solar panels or can't afford renewable energy on your house, can't put wind turbines up or whatever. There's 4 levels, and from the simplest, which is just a minimal conservation, you just go around and deliberately turn off extra lights and unneeded appliances, through severe restrictions, through level 3, which was using backup power for this 24-hour period, disconnecting from the grid completely, all the way to level 4. And eventually, every household in America should be able to participate at level 4. I mean, solar technology has come a long ways. Once we get to the point where every household can either produce power or use power, we're going to have a much cleaner future without fossil fuels, without putting carbon in the air, and a much more reliable grid. Because if you have hundreds of thousands of generators in the form of households, ordinary households, it's much harder to take out the whole grid, because the grid is going to be very resilient. We should all be trying to get to level 4, but please participate in Unplug Nuclear Power at whatever level you can. Thank you.